friends, and welcome back to the Atara Experience, where we explore faith, healing, leadership, wellness, and purpose through real life conversation that inspires transformation. I'm your host, Atara Estes, and today I want to ask you a simple question. Why would someone grow herbs when they could just buy them at the grocery store? It's a fair question. After all, I could drive a few minutes, walk into the produce section, and pick up basil, mint, rosemary, thyme, or lemon balm without ever getting my hands dirty. So why do I spend hours planting, watering, pruning, harvesting, and caring for my healing garden? The answer has very little to do with the herbs. It has everything to do with what God is growing inside of me. For me, the garden is more than a place where plants grow. I learned this in grounding when I had to learn to recenter myself when the world was coming at me and life was lifing and overloaded with stress and had me in a anxious, wanting to know what tomorrow would bring. And then I had depression that's holding me bound by what happened to me on yesterday. So this becomes a sanctuary for me. It's one of the places where I hear God's voice most clearly. And when I walk through my garden early in the morning or late evening, before the world gets busy or once the world begins to slow down, I'm reminded to slow down. Either way, from the morning, before everybody gets started, hustle and bustle, or waiting till the evening when it settles, when everyone has to come to an end of their day. The world celebrates hustle, but the garden teaches patience. It reminds me that everything God creates has a season. Nothing blooms overnight. Nothing bears fruit immediately. Even the strongest plants began as tiny seeds buried beneath the soil. And it isn't that how God often works in our lives? Sometimes He plants our purpose inside of us long before anyone else can see it. Isn't that amazing? Sometimes He's doing His greatest work beneath the surface. There have been seasons in my own life when I wondered if anything good could come from pain. After surviving domestic violence, trauma, grief, disappointment, betrayal, and so many moments that tried to convince me my story was over. I didn't realize God was planting something new. He wasn't burying me. Now, when I look at my garden, I'm reminded that God never wastes a season. Every seed carries purpose. Every season teaches something. Every harvest begins with faithful planting. And growing herbs has also changed how I think about wellness. When I harvest fresh basil, when I pick mint for my tea, and when I smell fresh lemon balm, wow, I'm reminded that God provided creations that not only to sustain us, but also to care for us. And choosing to grow herbs has become an act of intentional living. It's my way of slowing down enough to appreciate God's provision. It's my way also of caring for the body He entrusted to me, because wellness isn't just about what we eat. It's about how we live. It's about making room for peace. It's about correcting and creating rhythm that nourish the body. And so one of my favorite moments in the garden is simply watering the plants and roofs, Healing Harvest Pharmacy. It seems so ordinary, okay? But watering reminds me of people. Some people need encouragement every day before they begin to flourish. Some dreams to require consistent care before they produce fruit. Some prayers take time before we see the answer. Yet we keep watering, we keep believing, and we keep trusting the gardener. And then there are the bees. I love watching the bees and the ladybugs move from flower to flower. Even the hummingbirds have paid some visits to the garden. They don't seem rushed. They simply do what they were created to do, quietly, faithfully, without seeking recognition. And because they're faithful to their assignment, life continues. That speaks to me. Because sometimes our greatest impact isn't found in the spotlight. It really isn't. Sometimes it's found in faithfully doing what God has called us to do when no one is watching. I've learned another lesson from gardening. Pruning isn't punishment, it's preparation. And sometimes God removes things from our lives that no longer serves his purpose, not ours, but his. Not because he's trying to hurt us, but because he's preparing us to produce even more fruit. That's true for plants. And it's true for people. So why do I grow herbs when I could simply buy them? Because every time I step into my garden, God reminds me who he is. He reminds me that growth takes time. Healing takes time. Purpose unfolds one season at a time. And the garden reminds me that slowing down isn't falling behind. Sometimes God slows us down in the garden before he grows us somewhere else. Before he expands our influence, he deepens our souls, our roots. So before he increases the harvest, he strengthens our foundation. And maybe that's exactly where you are today. Maybe you're in the season that feels slow. Maybe you're planting and wondering when you'll see results. Maybe you're pruning and it feels uncomfortable. Or maybe you're finally entering into a season of harvest. Whatever season you're in, trust the gardener because he's faithful in every season. As in Psalms 1 reminds us, those who delight in the Lord are like trees planted by the streams of water that yield fruit in season, whose leaves do not wither. That promise isn't just for gardens, it's for us. Now, thank you for spending these moments with me today. And if this episode encouraged you in any way, I'd love to hear from you. What seasons do you believe God has you in right now? Are you planting? Are you growing? Are you pruning? Are you harvesting? Share your thoughts. Subscribe to the Atara Experience and join me next time as we continue exploring faith, healing, leadership, wellness, and purpose. One conversation at a time. Until next time, keep growing, keep healing, and remember, the master gardener is still at work in you. Be blessed. The Atara Experience.